Hey Alpha Fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today I just want to go over a couple charts, KADENA, QREDO, and Bitcoin, just to see how things are playing out with a couple of the charts that we've been following here at Alpha. And of course, you've got KADENA on the screen right here, and we can see that it's more or less been just following this fractal that I laid out. I did have a more kind of extreme version that went lower, but it does seem that we're holding on to the more conservative version here, and we are actually starting to tip over, which would have been expected in this area. Now, on this fractal, we actually had a series of lower lows, and lower highs. But in case of the current real KADENA chart, we actually have a series of higher lows. So that bodes well for the long term. Maybe that's why we're not getting that really kind of liberal low dip fractal playing out, but we're getting the kind of higher version. The lower one was sort of like this, kind of taking into account this dip right here following the fractal, right? And so we were thinking, well, it's possible that it could dip like this, maybe use this old high over here as support. And, if we have like a crypto winter or something, then maybe these type of areas, somewhere between $2.60 and $3.50 would be somewhere where you would want to target to buy in. And you can consider that zone, just have it on your radar just in case, right? But something like this. But of course, I did also have the more conservative version, which kind of took into account this high over here, and then the price action, how it was fitting over here, and a little bit more aligning with the top of this price action. And so what we're seeing is something more like this. And so this would suggest that perhaps you want some buy orders around $4.40 to maybe $5.25. And if you could catch this region, you know, that'd be awesome. Just if we have a dip, if Bitcoin has a major, fallback or something goes on in the market, then you might just have some buy orders in those areas if you do strongly believe in this asset. But of course, we're up here at, approximately 675 right now. I did take a small position in this area, and so far it's kind of fizzling out because I did consider that, maybe this fractal won't play out. So I just wanted to play the number. But of course, we're getting all these wicks. I think this has to do with a combination of KADENA being, a mineable coin, and so the fees that, they pay the miners, aren't really covered by the network use fees because there's not enough use on it. But I do believe that they are getting a new exchange or a launch pad or something. So hopefully the use case for KADENA increases in the future. And if you have a chance to accumulate before all those features come out, then hey, hopefully we can grab some in this price range if you missed it over here, because I do think this is probably the closest to the technical bottom. And if we do have some crypto winter, then maybe we could enter this territory, but I wouldn't personally be counting on it. Just moving along, let's go ahead and take a look at QREDO, because this one has also been following my fractal. And as you can see, it's playing this fractal out in a couple different ways. It played it out here, it played it out here, and it looks like it's playing it out here, okay? So, sorry for the messy chart, but basically you can see that it's following this price action. Again, a difference similar to KADENA. On the fractal, we had, kind of this lower high here. So this was a lower high and another lower high. And then this was, a low. And then this was a lower low, actually. It was either a lower low. Yeah, it was a lower low. And on the real chart, like the current chart, we actually had a higher low and we had a higher high, so this was your high, and then it actually got a higher price point. and it had a low, but you actually had a higher low. So that's bullish. So do I think that the kind of, liberal kind of like super low dip, will play out? I don't know. I don't know. I think there may be some trickery involved in this, and even this fractal may not play out. But, even before we spilled over the side here, I was warning people on my Twitter and a couple times in videos, hey guys, look out, like we're gonna have a dip, if this fractal is true. And sure enough, we've had a almost a 25% dip. So hopefully you weren't just holding your bags when you were seeing some of this stuff coming up. And I'll show you not on the log scale, but on the linear chart, just for a little bit more local analysis. Um, from this peak to this peak, we got rejected, right? So it broke down. And then you could kind of say that if it broke out, maybe we'd buy in this purple zone, right? I marked that out for you guys. I said, hey, like if we break out here, I might just enter QREDO because we could potentially see this pump coming out, right? But and I project, at least like $4, maybe even $7, in a reasonable amount of time if we do have that breakout. But if we were rejected here, then of course we would expect to be smacked down. And the interesting thing is that we do have this uptrend on QREDO. I'll try to just kind of find the average of it, right? Something like this. There's this kind of like average to it. And so, if we do find support on this line, then of course I have my purple box here, and maybe it should be right, maybe it should be up here, because then your target's going to be something like $2.30, right? Something like that. And if it bounces off of that and then breaks out, then of course you could also buy the retest. But the fractal suggests that we might even break through this floor, so you're going to want to have a stop loss somewhere, right? Which is kind of this empty space. And then if we do break down under this support, then of course some areas that I just marked out for possible buys is, this kind of low over here. Maybe we're going to double bottom around $1.90. Or maybe we're gonna, retest this support back here from the original days of QREDO, and maybe that's gonna be like $1.50, something like that, around $1.50. I don't really count this stuff. I think I just accidentally stretched the fractal out because it's really easy to, just accidentally stretch this thing if you move it. Just the handle on it is very weird. So actually, this is the region that I'm looking for as kind of the lowest. I do not think we'll break down below that. And personally, I don't even think we're going to break down below $2. But you know, you know, I think that $2.30 could be reasonable. Well, we might be, attempting to try this line a third time if we have some type of a pump. Just, we tried it here, we tried it here, we tried it here, we tried it here. We couldn't get through this thing, right? So do you really think it's going to try the top again before it breaks down? I don't know. I think it's going to try the bottom again. I think we got rejected. We're getting slapped down. We're going to try the bottom. So yeah, $2, 25 cents maybe is the lowest I could see in this. $2.26. Maybe realistically $2.30. And it just depends. We could start curving, but maybe we don't break this low right here. So potentially, $2.45, something like this, which that wick kind of went to. So, if we could just hold that, it wouldn't be the worst sign for QREDO. It would still be pretty bullish. We'd still be in a general uptrend ever since here, which, was a month ago. So, that's pretty good. But yeah, the fractal does suggest that we could go lower if we had a crypto winter and that you'd want to set some type of buy zones in this area. But I personally am not leaning towards that kind of crypto winter concept. I just think that the Bitcoin chart just turned too bullish. I think that the Biden executive order was so neutral and kind of even positive to try to clean up the industry a little bit and mostly focused on an American digital dollar. It really isn't too focused on, hurting the crypto industry or anything like that. It actually seems kind of neutral to positive. Like a lot of institutions will see the Biden executive order on crypto as something that helps make crypto safer to invest in. So it's good news for big institutions to come in and bring their money into crypto. And then we also had a lot more clarity from the Fed. And so, once that uncertainty about the Fed went away, then we were able to get a little bit more bullish, right? And of course, the Fed left themselves a lot of elbow room to do something strange that could shake the market again. But short of them doing a double interest rate hike next month, then I think that we have a little ways to run for at least for April. I think we have room to for a little bit of a run. And then in May, if the Fed comes out with a double interest rate hike, maybe Bitcoin and crypto is going to have a pretty sizable pullback, maybe with the stock markets also. And you don't know what's going to happen. As for the war in Ukraine, of course, you know, it seems like the Western Alliance is winning. It seems that like Ukraine is winning, and America's hybrid war on Russia is winning. So, I mean, kudos to the United States, kudos to Ukraine, kudos to Europe, and of course, a lot of people would be thinking that we could do more, but you don't want to risk nuclear war. And so it's a very fine line to walk. And so anything could go wrong still. But Russia is starting to get exhausted. They've got like anywhere from 1,000 to 15,000 soldiers dead already. They've got all of their armed forces in Ukraine, and they're barely making a dent. They're just like destroying stuff, which doesn't make sense. If you want to take over a country, you don't flatten the country because you have to operate the country, right? Like the only thing that Russia is doing right now is creating like future spiteful people who are going to, a small percentage are going to end up being terrorists, in Russia because they're going to be so hateful against Russia. So, what's the point of this war if you're just going to destroy everything? The point was to try to take over some land, not to flatten Ukraine, to take over Ukraine. And if they can't win except by flattening it, then the war isn't worth anything. And so the likelihood that a settlement will come about and maybe Russia's going to try to just take, take control of some regions in the east, and some type of peace agreement. I think it's getting to be more and more likely the more exhausted that Russia gets. But if they resort to chemical weapons or even nuclear weapons to try to just destroy the opposition in Ukraine and make some type of power move, because Russians are all about power politics. They are not about the liberalism in the West. They're all about just cold-blooded. At this point, it's pretty much evil. I mean, they used to be called the evil empire for a reason, but it's pretty much about just almost evil levels of power, which is what Putin resides on. And that could turn around in a flash. I mean, we have to be very careful. So just be mindful that things can turn around very quickly. And so take your profits where you can. But, Bitcoin is doing pretty well on the chart. You can see that we are in that pullback zone that I marked off for you. Um, Again, I'm thinking that we have like a couple more pullback zones here. So anytime in the next week, we could potentially get slapped down. And yeah, but otherwise we're still pushing. We're still pushing. And this doesn't look too bad. This does look like it could come down, but it doesn't look too bad. We still have this structure that we've been building here, right? So if we come down to 43.5 thousand bucks, not too bad. You don't want to really take out your lows here, but 43, 0.5 thousand bucks, not too bad. We could still pop up. We could have another drive up even if we do a retrace. And of course, What I'm looking at here is something like a weekly squeeze play using the EMAs. And for the first time, we can really see it on the chart. Let me go ahead and just get rid of the drawings. And what you can see here is we have, the 21 is turned up as well as the 9 here, right? And so we're above this 55, we're above the 21, we're above the 9. That's all very bullish because I was pointing this out to you previously when I was making some drawings. Let me go ahead and just get rid of some of this stuff where, we could just end up having these things like, squeeze together, and as long as the price action stays up here, it's going to pop up, right, to that mid $50,000 area. Of course, if we break under, yep, there's that number again, 43,500. So that's very confluent with what I was just saying, using a totally different other method of metrics, using trend. But just using the EMAs, we can also see 43,500 is going to make that 21 turn flat again. And if it turns flat, then it's pointing sideways or potentially could point down next, right? So holding on to 43,500 is super bullish. And then if we lost 40,000, so previously I was saying like a 39,000, and of course as time goes on, some of these numbers are going to be increasing. So now if we lose 40,000, then your 21, pardon me, your 9 is also going to become flat. And so if your 9 becomes flat and your 21 is going to be pointed down, and so you're basically going to be squeezing downwards. And so what you would see is, this thing coming down like this thing would be flat, and your price action will be down here getting like stuck, and then you're just going to squeeze to the downside, potentially to 33,000 or even the lower 20,000s, right? So you don't want to get into a squeeze to the downside. But the good news is everything is in good health right now. Nothing really to worry about. Watch my video that I made yesterday. It was a really long one, but I think it was worth it. I'm going to keep this one short and just let you know we're doing pretty good. The open interest, according to Crown's Crypto Cave, I love that guy. He's saying that we're entering those regions where we could have a strong pullback. I recommend just watching the EMAs and seeing if we break trend. I'm not so sure that open interest always is something that you can depend on, because of course we just have times when we just pump, right? We just pump, or we just dump, and we just dump. And you can't be so focused on the open interest and these leverage traders. Like, of course, they can regularly, cause pullbacks and regularly cause pumps depending on, short squeezes and things like that. But if the market is actually changing direction, then it's not going to be stopped just by those standard levels. I don't think we're flat anymore. I think we are pumping right now. So I do think that we are on the bullish trend here, and there's no reason to go against the trend. The trend is your friend until it ends, right? So, go ahead and go with the trend. And if we get some pullbacks, as long as you're minding those levels that I was talking about, 43,500, and then definitely 40,000. Okay, like we don't want to lose 40,000. And we want to maintain 43,500, if we can. If we have a flash wick down below to like 40,000, no big deal. DCA in, but if we break 40,000, just, you can get a little concerned. And then ultimately, we really, really, really do not want to break, that 37,000. So it's still 37,000, right? Because you can see we're being supported by this 89, and that 89 is just right there at that $37,000 level. And so these are the EMAs that I would be looking out for on the weekly. All right, guys, that was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.